Welcome to a new episode of Real Business Roundtable. Today we're going to talk about how it's about who you know, not what you know.
What is going on? We signed an agreement. Now he's like... Sorry, should I not have said that?
We got an agreement signed, but... Well, there's two agreements. One got signed,
Yeah.
and then one was, I'm going to move forward, but I want to meet your team. I guess you can't be half pregnant, but that's sort of... It's one of those situations. It's one of those situations, and I'm like,
I've never heard that before. That one was funny.
In general, he's a good dude,
yeah.
and I
trust
I'm
him.
going to trust him. He's a stand-up guy, because the fact he was like, and if I waste your time, I'm going to pay you money. So I'm like, okay, let's do it. Let's rock. So in regards to it's about who you know, not what you know, there's a lot of super smart people that have a lot of knowledge and they just can't get their small business and their entrepreneurial journey or dream off and soaring like an eagle. Why is that?
It's not all about what you know. It's about who you know.
Yeah.
If you have the knowledge, but you don't have the opportunity, the networking, the community to advance with that knowledge, you're gonna be caught.
You're gonna hold yourself back.
You're holding yourself back so much that you're gonna hit a wall and you're gonna be like, what the fuck? Where other people have that who you know, you're introducing yourself, you're out there, you're being kind of I don't want to say a salesman, because it's not really, it's more about being like a charismatic, knowledgeable person that goes out there and meets with people, goes to events, shakes hands. Those are the people that are gonna get the big opportunities. We're talking about, joint ventures. We're talking about...
Yeah, but here's the thing. The crazy part to me is when you see somebody who knows the right people that may not be the best option for those connections that they made, and you're just kind of sitting there in the sidelines like...
You got a point, but you know what I learned a lot recently? Everyone knows a person who knows a person who knows a person who knows a person.
Like once I met this guy who knew 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 this guy's cousin.
At the end of the day, this goes back to like treat everyone the way you want to be treated. I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna shake someone's hand. I'm not gonna be cocky, I'm not gonna be anything. I have the knowledge. I put myself out there. I shake the right hands, and it leads to opportunities. I reach out to people. You message people. We do this all the time.
Oh yeah, always keep yourself out there. Keep those opportunities coming in, because you never know, something might happen. Like one time we were on a trip and we just had a regular everyday business meeting with a business, and we got a random knock on the door from someone very, very big. And we were like,
oh,
what?
absolutely.
We like,
absolutely.
what? And they were like, yeah, you talked to Joe and this and that, and bang, bang, X, X, Y, Z. And oh.
Yeah, I can't, like, honestly, I
that's
didn't
an
even think of
example. that.
That's a great example.
Networking, putting yourself out there.
Networking is huge. Even just like this is one of the reasons why I like traveling for business. You go out there, you meet people, you shake hands, because like it's all about, so this is you, and think of like a circle around you, that's you, right? And you start to branch off, and branches are growing out there. There's a network of lines and people, and there's one line with someone, and that someone has a bunch of their own line. This ecosystem of if you're a business owner, of offerings, of knowledge, of whatever it may be. You work for a company, you do a certain thing, you got really good at that thing, you have that knowledge. That piece about what you know is important, but it's not all about that. It branches off. You meet someone, they have a big network, and you just that network, whatever, for simple terms, is just growing and growing and growing and growing, and it leads to big opportunities. Some of the biggest opportunities that we're a part of through our businesses is because we went out, we shook someone's hand, and it led to great things. So it's very important. You don't want to hit that wall where you're like, and some people it's not for them, right? Some people don't want to go out and they don't want to do all that. They're introverted, which is fine. But that's when you meet someone who's extroverted, who has a passion in what you do, and you partner up with them, you merge in, and they go out and they spread the name, they shake the hands, they do all those things. So it's very important. The people you know and the network you have is so valuable, so valuable.
I can agree that I have stumbled and met certain individuals that made it possible for me to be where I am now in life. And I am grateful for that. I think sometimes higher power, guardian angels, what do you want to call it? Things happen in life for a reason. But like, I remember like each time that I made a connection with somebody and then something spawned out of it that was extraordinary, like something that was like way better than anything else available, or like it gave you that competitive edge, right? Even back in the day, with SEO and stuff like that. So I was able to make connections, and I made one connection to do certain things for clients. And then I made another connection. And then I had one guy, he completely changed his industry and he just opened his Rolodex to me. He goes, "Hey dude, I'm getting out of the industry. I'm moving in over here." And because I made the connection, he was like, "Here." And that here was insane connections. That, they were linking me up with groups and people that don't work with the public. And they were like, "Hey, you
shook the right hand, you got in the right doors, you opened up the right..."
Like when it comes to making a website more popular. Like everybody thinks like, "Oh yeah, you just do the basic stuff, title meta, blah, 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 blah." But I actually linked up with some people who only work with top tier agencies that know how to make, let's say, a website have the highest level of relevancy and credibility and popularity by building what's happening outside of the website. I don't want to get into too much detail, but at the end of the day, I made a connection, and this connection does work with major Fortune 500 brands and their websites, and I was able to make that connection. I remember the day he handed it off, that group was like, whoa, who's this? They were real cagey. Like there was a lot of red tape, and he's like, no, he's good. Mm-hmm. He's taking my place. Mm-hmm. Roll with it. And it's been pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and at the end of the day, I mentioned something before. You want to treat people the way you want to be treated. It's always mutual. You gotta create like a synchronization between your knowledge, their opportunity, your opportunity there, whatever. I mean, there's got to be a synchronization. There's got to be a good flow in order for that, any of these opportunities to come to fruition. And to do that, you gotta be able to want to do some favors. You want to help people out. You want to go out. That's a huge part of branching out. Is opening up opportunities for other people.
And also be down to earth enough to accept that nobody's perfect, and you as an entrepreneur are not. Nobody is. I'm not. And it's always better for you to make those connections. And if you find somebody that's smarter than you, that's really good at something, hire them. Give them the opportunity. Don't feel threatened like, "Oh, this person knows more than me." It's not about that. It's about Voltron. All the pieces going together. Cue Voltron.
Ready to form Voltron. Activate interlock. Dynatherms connected. Infracells up. Mega thrusters are go. Let's go, Voltron Force!
One guy does this. One girl does this. One person does this. That. They all connect, right? And then you are able to utilize those connections, because employees are connections. There are some employees of mine and team members of mine that are extremely skilled and very good at what they do, and they drive results. Without them and their contribution, we would not be able to serve our clients properly. So it's not just about networking and hey, it's also about who are you interviewing? Who is even accepting your invitation to interviews? Those potential employees are connections. Those potential employees have a history of work with XYZ companies. They may bring some knowledge to the table. Think about that for a minute. People think networking is just going out and shaking hands and da-da-da. It's every single person you interact with.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've interacted with people just in traffic or I'm parked somewhere and they're like, yeah, hey, blah, 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 small talk. And sometimes they might say something about the vehicle I'm driving and whatever. And then it gets into, hey, yeah, you should talk to my nephew. He's starting a landscaping company. You should talk to him because,
Well, it's funny because like the way I look at supercars and those luxury cars and stuff like that is not all about, a huge portion of it is reaching a goal, getting that as a milestone in your life, enjoying that car, loving it, having it as a hobby. But then at the same time, that branches off into, you're getting attention from a different silo of people, a different, tier of opportunities in a sense, right? So it's like having those supercars and those things, it opens you up to a lot of opportunities. That's one of the huge benefits of owning a car if you have the opportunity to get one. Now, the whole goal with this and the end goal and the I don't like the end goal of networking, right?
The net result.
The result of networking at the end of the day, in my opinion, is community. So you're building, your network has just expanded to a point where you have all these different connections of people you're helping, they're helping you, passing it back and forth. When you're online, I don't know, this was like big, like a couple years ago online, before all the courses and stuff like that. It was all about masterminds and these networking groups that would get together, and it would be a bunch of business owners or digital, people, whatever, content creators, whatever it is, and they would have these masterminds. Remember when that word was a little bit,
it was overused.
It was overused, but at the end of the day, the what that means is important. It's a collective of people with opportunities and knowledge, and it's a community. It's a collective of all these people getting together and creating new opportunities and doing this and doing that and creating new initiatives and doing some really cool stuff. And you can't do that without branching out, without shaking those hands, opening up those doors, meeting those people. You can't create a community, and community is extremely important. Yeah,
it's good to have a kind of a reoccurring people you have in your, and I don't want to date myself, but I always say Rolodex, or your contacts, people that people that you made connections with, people that were kind enough to give you their cell phone number and you can reach out to them anytime. Different connections. Like I have a connection for all different sorts of things, from app development to you name it. And then it's also good to make connections with people who have much bigger connections than you would probably ever get, and people who kind of roll with the upper echelon. And it's good to have those guys in your back pocket because they can make introductions and get certain things done for you from a business standpoint that the average entrepreneur probably couldn't. You get my drift.
At the same time too, like, if you're the type of person who likes to be, loud and loves to enjoy these luxuries of life too. I mean, there's also trade-offs. If you meet someone and you have an offering that you want to offer it for, a luxury rental out in Miami, offer it for, you know what I mean? Like there's trade-offs to these things. It's not all about the money transaction. There's also offering and service transaction that, people do often. There's content creators that are going out and living this life on Instagram where they take videos of themselves in these luxury hotels and these nice cars, and you see this logo at the bottom. That's the hotel or the car or whatever it may be. You're helping them out by getting them exposure. They're helping you out by letting you enjoy a nice Porsche or a Ferrari or a Lambo, out in Miami, and you're staying this night. The thing is that you made this connection.
Yep.
You guys are both offering a service to each other. You're able to enjoy this service while they're able to expose their business more. It's just, there's so many different benefits from opportunities of people helping each other out. And it's out there, it's out there, and it's so important. And honestly, that's the reason why we wanted to talk about this, because I feel like some people don't understand the value of knowing certain people, of, you know, helping people out, of shaking hands, of opening these doors. I'm going to say this a bunch of times, but it's extremely important. Networking is it's like 50 and 50. It's the same. It holds the same weight as knowledge, as your knowledge and your offering and whatever your business is or whatever you know, and whoever. It's the same. It's in the same realm. It's in the same level.
Yeah, like I've heard some crazy stuff. Like I was at a coffee shop and I bumped into a guy that I always see around. I think he applied to work for us a long time ago, or I don't know. It's just this guy. I freaking don't even know his name. I always forget his name. I mean, I'm sorry if you're watching this. He's a nice guy, and he was talking to me about something, and I was telling him about something business-wise crazy that we went through years ago. And he goes, dude, that story is so intense. He goes, I have a friend that knows Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want me to, can I pitch this story to him? Because I guess Mark Wahlberg likes stories from the Boston area. Okay, that's great. So I was like, yeah, fuck it. You can tell him about it.
Why not?
Go ahead. Yeah, tell the dude that knows the dude, but connections. Like,
yeah.
What I'm trying to get at is, I would have never guessed that this guy knew a guy that knew him. I was like, what? He goes, yeah, guy I know knows him. He goes, can I pitch the story? I was like, cool, but make sure I get credit, or he comes and talks to me to get all the details, because I kind of gave him a high level overview of some real crazy business story that had a lot of twists. You know, something that me and my business partner went through is fucking insane. I'm a little traumatized from it, but it was just
no.
It warrants this. It was insane, and it had all these twists and plots and weirdness, and it was just. At one point, I go, "Am I in a movie? Am I in a movie? Is this a dream? Is this a dream?" What planet am I on? All right. Cheetos.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Real Business Roundtable. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please like, subscribe. Peace out. See you next time.